but the vast majority has been very uplifting. I tell God thank you for Osade. Now, my service to the nation, I believe, say it starts from a very young age, which is why you get people that waking, they assume, say, I am much older than I am. I remember somebody, they argue with me, mama in London, my mama we born me in London. They tell me, mama say, this was like 5-6 years ago. They tell me, mama say, me don't pass 60. He said, there's no way that woman, that year, not even 58. So my mommy, they try for tell and say, no, that woman, they in 40s. He said, no way. For me, smaller, they already this woman in voice. This woman must be in his 60s. So I started at a very young age. And how did I start? I think God guided me to, during the war years, I was a student at college, and we had a lecturer. She was a woman called, she was a pediatrician, a medical doctor. And she inspired me for us to rise up and demand for peace. It was during the war years. She was called Dr. Famata Boy Kamara. And at that time, I was a student activist within university circles, but not on a national level. But she was able to speak to me as a student leader that I was. And we came out and I remember we marched through the streets of Freetown. We led thousands of women. I and her held the banners to lead the march of thousands of women across the streets of Freetown, demanding for peace. This was in 1994, 1995. And it shot me into the limelight, of course. I also became the first woman who contested against men, beat men, and became the first woman for be a student union president at the university. This is now like 32 years ago, which was unheard of. That and for make woman get mind so. So I was then 22 years of age. So at that age, I already had made my mark. And then during the war years, when I left go America, the way the war was being, the way the crisis in Sierra Leone was being handled, I was very, very articulate on the internet. Because as a student leader, I had been privy to a lot of things that were ordinary people that not go sabi. You know, so in a student leader, politicians, and they meet you and they talk to you because they want you to be, you know, I was very influential. So I saw the way President Kaba was leading the nation during the war years. It was a disaster. They were fighting a fight that would never end. So I was very articulate on the internet. We had a group called Leonet. We had another group called Africa Online. And I was articulate against Tijan Kaba and the SLPP-led government, how they were prosecuting the war. So that again shot, because I can be very courageous when I put my views across. So that again shot me into global limelight in the Sierra Leone space. We continue, we eventually get what we want, which was a peaceful settlement of the crisis in Sierra Leone. Now,
you play any role in that peaceful settlement?
Yes, tremendous role. I mean, that one I was blessed. God used me at a very pivotal point in time. I mean, if I want to explain, I will spend all the time now. I know don't explain I want in at SABC. But bottom line, I was able to work with Nigerians. I got in touch with a man who would eventually become the president of Nigeria, and I was able to convince him to put Sierra Leone as a priority. And to cut a long story short, there was a pivotal point I played to get peace in Sierra Leone. And I'm very proud of myself that God used me for convince Nigeria at a certain point in time, connect Nigerian president in Sissebuka, make a direct line to the president of Nigeria at that time, and get them to be able to get both Tijan Kaba and the rebels to the table for dialogue and for peace eventually in Sierra Leone. So I'm very proud of myself in the role I played in that aspect.